Something unprecedented is happening this week in Japan. Activists from around the world are coming together for the first ever transnational anti-Olympic summit. Indeed, Tokyo protest groups have teamed up with those from recent host cities, such as Rio de Janeiro and Pyeongchang in South Korea, and future hosts, including Los Angeles. The summit coincides with the one-year mark before the Tokyo Summer Olympics open on July 24, 2020. These days, anti-games campaigns are popping up like activist Jack in the boxes. Los Angeles wouldn't have become a US candidate city in the first place were it not for anti-games activists who forced Boston's mayor to back out of the city's 2024 host contract. Many other bids, such as the one for Hamburg in Germany, Budapest in Hungary, and Rome in Italy, for the 2024 Games were also scuppered after persistent local protests. Feeling the pinch, the International Olympic Committee doled out two Olympics simultaneously, to Paris for 2024 and Los Angeles for 2028. A handful of negative effects inevitably followed the Games and account for the rise of these anti-Olympic activist movements. These are overspending, the militarization of police, citizen displacement, greenwashing, and corruption. Rio de Janeiro, Sochi, and even Beijing, with its now derelict venues, are all prime examples of the Games' grotesque downsides. The Tokyo Olympics have been sold as the most innovative ever, but are already replicating the usual problems. Let's start with costs. The original price tag of the 2020 Games was $7.3 billion, but now it has more than tripled. The Tokyo organizers have also branded these Games as the Recovery Olympics, in a nod to the 2011 earthquake, tsunami, and resulting Fukushima nuclear meltdown. The survivors and the hard-hit communities are still struggling to rebuild. The reality, however, is that these Recovery Olympics are literally taking the money, workers, and the cranes away from the areas where they are needed the most. These Games have also sent thousands of people into the streets in Japan to protest threats to their civil liberties. Indeed, in 2017, Japanese legislators rammed anti-terrorism legislation through Parliament, justified by the need to protect the Olympics. The legislation added hundreds of new crimes to the books, including offences such as sit-ins to oppose the construction of new apartment buildings. As if to underline privacy concerns, at every single Tokyo Olympic venue, visitors will be subjected to facial recognition systems. Its acceptance at the Games nudges Japan down a surveillance state's slippery slope. The Olympics have also another problem. They are notorious for displacing everyday residents, and Tokyo is no exception. Indeed, the residents in Tokyo were already displaced by the 1964 Olympics, and we are seeing the same event happening again for the 2020 Games. Moving on to greenwashing, the Tokyo Games will showcase the Fukushima prefecture, where the torch relay will begin and where the baseball and softball games will be played. And it's okay if athletes and spectators go to Fukushima for a couple of days, but the reality is that the situation is still pretty dire. The Japanese government is using the Olympics to claim that everything is back to normal and that the evacuees should go home. It has also increased what it considers to be acceptable radiation levels from 1 millisievert a year to 20, which it claims presents a far lower cancer rate than smoking or obesity. Now, the final factor which accompanies most Olympic Games is corruption. Allegations have already surfaced in Tokyo. The Japanese Olympic Committee president, Tsunekazu Takeda, resigned in March after being included in an ongoing bribery investigation. an investigation which took in exam the 2020 games and how they were secured. Takeda has already resigned from the IOC, but still keeps saying that he's innocent. City by city, recent Olympics have proved to be plagued by a democracy deficit. Indeed, politicians, developers, and construction magnates tend to hyperinflate these bids for the games with little or no citizen input. And yet the impact on a city of hosting hundreds of thousands of visitors, athletes, the media, and officials has long-lasting implications for those residents. And even the IOC appears to understand the need for reform. Indeed, the IOC president has one main concern and says that the Olympic bidding process seems to create too many losers, and it therefore has suggested that future bidders will be asked to hold a referendum before being considered. Going back to what I mentioned at the start, i.e. the sit-ins and the protests taking place this week, there will be 15 anti-games activists from Los Angeles participating in these activities. Hopefully, they will have the chance of participating in a referendum, which, however, might also have a negative impact on the actual games. We will have to see if Los Angeles will still be hosting the 2028 games after the conclusion of the games in Tokyo. Thank you very much.